I am the Craft Dad.
It's me again, Craft Dad. I am back, and what am I building? Well, you probably saw it in the title already, otherwise you wouldn't have clicked on it. I'm making a Darth Vader helmet for my son for Halloween. That's what he decided he wanted to be, Darth Vader. So, starting us off, I went and found a Pepakura file for the Darth Vader helmet. A lot easier to work with something that's already been created than trying to create it from scratch. Now, this is a locked file, meaning I can only view it. I can't manipulate it. And I can't resize it either, which sucks. But luckily, when I do the print size, and it goes from the A4 to the regular 12-inch paper that I have, it shrinks it to the perfect size that actually fits my son. Okay, so what this video is not, this is not a how-to video for Pepakura. There are a lot of videos out there already that kind of explain to you how to use Pepakura, how to go through the viewer, and all of that. I don't want to get into that. It can be very time consuming. I want to focus on building the costume. So this printout here actually prints it off in two pieces. You'll have the face piece with the neck part that goes on, and then you have the helmet that attaches to the face piece, which is awesome. So starting off, I wanted to do this kind of the same way that I had built my Halo costumes, which was use it as a template and cut it in foam, then do the edging and glue the foam together. And I started working on it, but because I can't manipulate the file, I can't join certain specific parts together in order to make them ready for foam construction, because there's a different way of doing this in foam versus doing this in the paper and constructing it all together. As you can see here, I kind of started off doing it in the foam, trying to see, okay, am I going to like the way this is going to turn out? And actually, I didn't. I didn't like the way it was going to turn out and the way it was going to look, so I ended up rebuilding it from scratch and doing it in paper. So as you see me here, what I'm using is a contact cement. Now some people use barge, some people use rubber cement. You can use whatever you want. And this is going at twice the speed, and so I was actually taking my time and using the glue stick, and I ended up using popsicle sticks in order to swipe off a little bit and then rub that onto the tabs, which ended up working out really good because using that big swab of a glue stick was just way too much for these little pieces that I was initially working on. And as you can see, the background underneath the table is no longer the towel that I had to keep you guys from being mesmerized by my thumping leg. I printed off my Craft Dad emblem or branding that I made, and that's now on the back side of the glass there. So what I'm doing here is I'm just slowly working my way and building it. And I picked the mouthpiece to start with because it's one, it's got the smallest pieces, and two, I wanted to build out from there as kind of the starting point. And it actually turned out really good starting from that position. Now, the reason why I'm using the contact cement is because within a matter of seconds, the contact cement is ready to join the pieces together and have a really good bond to where I can just keep working and working and building. Now, I've tried doing this before with tape. Doesn't work very good. The tape doesn't stick to the paper very well. And I've tried doing it with Elmer's glue. Really not a good idea to use Elmer's glue for a project like this. Okay, so I've been listening to some of the video as I go through, and you hear this sound, and what that is that's me rubbing my hands together as I'm talking, and so I'm going to make sure I keep my hands down at my side so that I don't interrupt you guys or annoy you guys with that sound. And I'm sure I'll get comments about it in the video, or about in the comment section anyway. So working my way through the pieces, I found a cheap, I mean like $1.50 or something like that. It was on sale, kind of like an X-Acto knife set. I've got multiple blades of different sizes, different shapes, and this handle here, which I love because it's a lot thicker than the little metal poles and gives me much better grip as I go through. Now what you see me here is I'm bending along the lines that the paper indicates. Now what you want to do is I'm using tweezers to help give me a crisper line to bend against. I wish I had something a little thicker that I could clamp and bend against than tweezers, but I don't have anything right now, and I didn't feel like making anything. Now, you want to use the Pepakura file as a reference because you don't it will put bends where you don't necessarily need to actually bend the paper. It does that because in the 3D model, everything's a hard surface and it can't do curves. So it does straight lines. And so where it seems like the paper is bending, it will do where you need to do slight bending in order to get the rounded shape. Now, we don't want everything to look geometrical, because when we cover this, there's parts that are supposed to be nice and smooth curves. So you have to reference the video and go back and forth. And so what you see me here is as I'm building, I'm working it in, bending stuff, getting it in there, gluing it, using the tweezers to help pinch the little tabs together, because you'll get little tabs. And at this point, you'll see that I have switched to using the glue stick and scraping glue off of the big jumbo glue stick, and then using that to wipe onto the paper. And eventually what I ended up doing was actually sharpening it to a slight point on the popsicle stick so that I can get into more narrow places. So what you see here is a still shot of the front piece, the progress that I made by this point, and it's looking nice. Taking my time, I'm being careful with the bending, and eventually what I ended up using was a putty knife, and I would hold it along the end and bend it in the direction that the paper had to go in order to get these nice crisp lines. Now, as you see here on the front, I cut out the piece that's going to form the bars that reveal the silver mesh behind the mouthpiece there that goes in front of the mouth. I plan to cut that out, and so I kind of laid that on there as a template so that I can cut it out later so that my son can easily communicate with other people. And so you can see a closer up here, it gets daunting and very tedious, but I built the whole face piece in 2 days, and not really in 2 days. I built it in, so I spent 4 hours one night, and then I spent 7 hours another day. So using the barge and cutting out, altogether, I spent about 11 to 12 hours, and I was able to complete the entire face. So as you see here, you can see the contact cement that I'm using, the not glue stick, the popsicle stick that I'm using to actually get the glue onto the different tabs there. And you can buy whatever contact cement you want. Just check the dry time. And here's the technique I was doing. I was pulling it out because a lot of it is soaked onto the brush. I would wipe it, get a good amount on the popsicle stick. Now, eventually it would build up on the popsicle stick, and I would use the my X-Acto knife there to cut off the popsicle stick, or cut off the contact cement that stuck to the popsicle stick. In the background there, you can see the putty knives that I was using to help do the straight bends. And so here, I would just put the glue onto the tabs, and it gives you time to put it on the tabs. They become sticky. Now, you don't want to wait too long because it will go from wet to sticky to dry, and then you will have to reapply it because then it won't stick to anything. And it'll stay sticky for a couple of minutes, but you don't want to go too much longer than that. And it's great because you can stick down one tab and then line up the furthest tab, stick that down, and then kind of work the tabs in between. And this will help keep you fairly close to keeping it the right size. There's only a few places where I seem to not get the right length, and I don't know if that was just a product of it, the way it was printed out, or what. But for the most part, everything lined up nicely. And it does get tedious going back and forth and trying to check, okay, where does this next piece go? What does it connect to? And you have to think about how you are building this. So you can see here, I built the bottom from the mouthpiece, I built down and built the neck. Why did I do that? Well, because I want to be able to set down what I've built without it flopping all over and eventually crushing or damaging itself. So by working down to the base and working the supports that are there that they've added in, I can set it down and work on cutting out the next piece, and then when I'm ready, glue it on. So I kind of worked from the mouthpiece back to the sides, and I would do one piece on one side and do the duplicate piece on the other side. And you need to check the image to kind of figure out, okay, how is this supposed to be curving? Should it be curving inward and down? Should it be curving out? To make sure you got the idea. Now the lines are coded in the Pepakura, where this line is a bend away, like bend it so you got a mountain, and this line is bend so you have a valley. And as you can see here, I'm just showing the little piece. I've got the contact cement there, and I'm just slowly working my way up the ridge nose, the ridge of the nose, so I can get ready to start doing the upper cheekbone part there. And as you can see, I cut out the vents at this point, and I did that before I really got this whole upper cheekbones gone, because I want to be able to lay it flat on the glass, cut it out, so I had a backing to what I was cutting, because I don't want to do that with my finger. And it allowed me to get crisp, clean cuts. And then when I do the warbler, if I do the warbler, I most likely will. So when I do the warbler, I can have a structure to poke it through and kind of wrap the warbler around to give me a nice strong structure there. So as you can see, this is as far as I've gotten in the 2 days. I've made the whole face piece. Using the barge and using the techniques and taking my time, about 12 hours is what it took me to actually build this portion of the mask. Now, it's still paper, it's still kind of flimsy, so the next step I want to do, and I was thinking of going straight to covering it in warbler, but because it is paper and there is a chance that it will collapse, or that when I heat up the warbler and get it on there that it might burn or cause something. So I'm thinking of a way to harden the paper some more so I can work with it better. And what I'm thinking of trying is wood glue. So in the next video, I will be actually applying wood glue, kind of like pasted on or glued on there, onto the face mask here. And we'll see how that goes. This is something I haven't really done before, but I do know wood glue works good, it becomes nice and hard. That's it for this video. Okay, so if you liked this video, please like, share, and subscribe. Now, it's going to be harder for me to make these videos since I'm operating the camera by myself. So at this point, I want to give a shout out to my friends that are now living in a completely different state than me. I miss you guys. Wish you guys were here to help me make these videos and just have fun making these projects. That's all. See you guys next time.